We need to talk about Damar Hamlin, but we need to talk about Damar Hamlin in a way that you probably haven't anybody talked about it, and it's a challenge for me. It's a challenge for us all. If you're unfamiliar with who I'm talking about, Damar Hamlin, the biggest story in the sports world, one of the biggest stories in the world. Just over a week ago, I was watching I believe it was a Sunday Night Football game. No, I'm sorry, it was Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, just over a week ago. The Bills are playing the Bengals. And Bills defensive back Damar Hamlin makes a tackle. And he, in the process of making the tackle, he's on the ground. He stands up. And momentarily, just a split second after rising to his feet, he collapses in what was one of the most, if I'm just being completely honest, gruesome visuals I've ever seen watching sports. And I've been watching sports for over 30 years. So he collapses. It became very apparent to his teammates on the field in the moment that this was not something of a paralytic nature, that this was, he's not breathing, this is bad. Now, unbeknownst to me, just like a lot of the people watching live on television, we didn't know what was happening. A couple commercial breaks happen, and now it becomes evident that they are giving him CPR on the field. And as we found out later from the broadcasters, they were doing chest compressions for up to 9 minutes, oxygen, I'm guessing. All manner of medical work is being done. And for those of you watching on YouTube right now, this was the image that stuck with many Americans. The entire Bills team gathered around in the moment, kind of a wall of privacy, and then in tears and just in complete shock of what was going on. Their hearts breaking, scared to death that the life of their teammate had been snuffed out just like that. That was what was happening. Then the team, the Buffalo Bills, gathered together in prayer. And then what ensued was probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours of what I would call stunned public reaction. The ESPN staff in the studio back in New York, stunned. I could say shocked. Yes, they were shocked, but their physical reaction was one of, it was stunning. As in, if you've ever seen a boxer before they go down just get hit and they're quite like, what? I'm not even sure what just happened to me. Stunned. What is happening? It took over the sports world. We've never seen a reaction like this. I've never seen prayer elevated to the level that prayer was elevated, and that's a good thing, but that's not my point. Here come the atheists. I posted something on Twitter, and I got ripped by people who don't even follow me. All I said was, it's refreshing to see the power of prayer. Does not take away for 1 second the heroic work of the medical professionals on the field that did their part, but I just believe God was listening. Now, for those of you that it offends you, good Lord, bless your heart. But let me make a bigger point. Why was this so stunning? Why was it so stunning? I wrote some thoughts down today on this little note card. I keep a stack of these by my desk, and I was just thinking about it. I said, we need to talk about this. The reason that this story was so stunning, the reaction that it had from shock to pain to prayer to true worry to canceling the game, here's why. He is a young athlete. Damar Hamlin is young, I believe 24 years of age. A professional athlete in peak physical condition. Maybe he's a millionaire, maybe he's not. But he's making good money. He's got his whole life ahead of him. Man, life's good for Damar Hamlin. But what happened is in a very public, unexpected way, two things happened to us as humans, and we need to revisit it. Number one, we were reminded how precious life is. He was not a football player with an injury. My son, Ty, high school football player, second game of the year this year, blew his knee out. ACL and MCL. Can I tell you, as a dad, it was heartbreaking. I was emotional in the stands. I wasn't worried about Ty's life. I was not worried about his long-term health. I just was, as a father, grieving because my son's season was over and he was going to go through excruciating therapy and some pain following surgery. But I did not consider Ty's life and the preciousness of life in that moment. This was not a normal injury. What this was a reminder that life is precious. It is short. It is valuable. And all of a sudden, this was no longer an athlete. They weren't going to play that game. If you were like me, you were sitting at home going, what's Roger Goodell doing? Taking so long to cancel the game. Cancel the game. We got a kid who's fighting for his life, who may never breathe again. We didn't know. And so it was reminding to us that life is incredibly precious. Wow. 24-year-old, prime of his life, heart attack. Is he going to live? That led us to the next stark, stunning reminder that we aren't promised tomorrow. If Damar Hamlin goes down with a heart attack in the middle of a football game, wow. How quickly could my life be over? I'm telling you, this is what we processed. Whether you actually had those thoughts or not, this is what's happening. We don't need to be reminded that we're all going to die one day. But then there was a third thing that happened after those two realizations. You know what's crazy? Somehow, some way, word got out that Damar Hamlin had a small charity and a goal to raise, I think, $1,200 to give bicycles to kids, if I'm getting that right. And so word got around. And the American people just began to donate. And he raised he didn't raise it. He's in a coma. And they raised, as of just a couple of days ago, the tally was now over $8 million to his charity. Why did people do that? And this is the point. I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to make a larger point. Why did people overwhelmingly support Damar Hamlin's charity? It was because of the first two reasons. They realized how precious life was and that their life was not promised tomorrow. And we all want to make a difference. And if we can help Damar make a difference, even in death, I'm just telling you, that's what this was. Nobody knew if this young man was going to make it at that point. Now, it kept going. But why did people donate to his small charity? I believe it's because we wanted to play a part in that young man leaving a legacy. If he indeed left us too early, he did not. He is recovered and he is home, and hopefully he'll lead a long life. Now, why am I sharing that on this show? Because this show is not about you getting a great job and making a great paycheck. Those things will happen if you let me coach you. But this show is about one thing and one thing only. Helping you, coaching you to make the difference that you were created to make. We were created to relate. We were created to create. Relate means we are relational beings. There's purpose in our relationships, whatever those are for you in your life. But there's also purpose in our work. And that worldview needs to change for you, because when you begin to wake up and realize that when I work, I'm actually making a difference in the lives of others. I'm making a difference in this world. You begin to see yourself so much better. You are valuable and you are loved.